5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello humans, Retro Rocket Man back again with another video. I'm revisiting an old favourite of mine, this Spider-Man 12-inch action figure made by Hasbro. This time around I want to paint him up to look like the black-suited version of Spider-Man. In the comics I believe he was known as a symbiote version. I want to have a go at using white shoe polish in the same way I used black in previous projects, and see if I can come up with a similar effect using a similar technique. So away we go. I'm going to start by priming it with a flat grey primer. This brand's called Fiddly Bits, and it's a cheap brand. It does just as good a job as some of the more expensive ones, so it's my can of choice. So I'm simply going to just give it an all over even spray, not too heavy, just to give something for the top coat to stick to. As you can see here, it's all one colour, ready for the first coat of black. Again, once the primer's dry, you just go ahead and spray the black as you did the primer. It's all pretty arbitrary, really. Don't go too heavy. You don't want to have drip marks or runs in your finish. Now we have a sexy looking all over one colour black Spider-Man. So this is going to be my base colour, the predominant colour being black of course. Now I'm going to be using this liquid shoe polish, a whitener in this case, and same method as I've used before in the past, and that is to liberally brush the areas where I want the white to adhere, and it really just brings out all those sculpted web lines. But first off, I've just got to brush it all over, and I'm going to let it dry just in the areas where I want the white webbing to show through. You don't need to worry about being precise, because the white will remove quite easily with a damp scouring sponge, so you can be a little bit messy, it's fine. Just so long as when you're removing the white, you're not going to be taking off any of the paint that you want left behind, so you don't want to go too hard or abrasive with this part of the procedure. It's all pretty much where I want it to be. The next step is remove the excess. So now that it's dried, the reason I'll leave it to dry is because I don't want to be taking out any of the white from all the line work, because that's what I want left behind. So you give it plenty of time to dry, and then with a damp scouring sponge, not too abrasive, and you don't need to use much in the way of elbow grease, it seems to come off pretty easy. Just gradually remove the excess and leave that lovely line work behind to get that contrasting effect that really makes this version of Spider-Man quite dramatic. So I'm just making sure that I'm getting rid of all that excess. It takes a little bit of work, I won't lie to you, it's not that quick, but it certainly gives me the effect I'm after, and it's a lot easier than painting all these lines individually. I've got a very shaky hand at the best of times, so this approach, this method suits me down to a T. now with a white acrylic. I'm going to paint the other areas, such as his eyes and the logos on his chest and also on his back. And then once these are done, that's pretty much it. It's not really a lot more to do. Of course, once it's dry, I'm going to seal it with a clear sealer, because I wouldn't want this to scratch off that easily. Probably the hardest part to me, because it requires a steady hand and a lot more attention to detail, if you like. I found the logo on his back to be the most difficult of all to do, because it's very hard to see the sculpted line work, considering it's just all black. And this took a couple of coats. I think it took about 3 coats all up to get it to the strength and consistency that I liked, because the black kept coming through. Even though this is quite a thick acrylic, it still needed a few coats to get to that desired level. There it is, fellow humans. This is my version of the symbiote or black-suited Spider-Man. There are different versions of him in the comics and in film, but utilising the current sculpt that I was able to get, this is the end result. And this is what he looked like before I started, and here he is after. Very different version of Spider-Man. Here he is with 2 other versions of the same sculpted character, the traditional comic book version, and also a black and red combination, and finally the symbiote suit. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll probably see you at some stage in the near future. This is Retro Rocket Man, over and out.